We are travelling around the Faroe Islands for 7 days, sharing its history, stunning beauty, hikes and helpful tips we learnt during our stay. If you missed part 1 covering Torshavn, the Northern Islands and a thrilling speedboat trip, then make sure you check out that video. This time we're taking you to the extraordinary remote island of Kalsoy, giving you all the details of how to travel here, as well as sharing our amazing experience hiking to the Kallur Lighthouse for jaw-dropping views, like nothing else we'd seen before. We explore the tiny villages and learn the folklore tale of the seal woman. It was an unforgettable day. We arrived in Klasvik, the second largest town in the Faroe Islands, on the afternoon of day 2 of our trip. We specifically decided to base ourselves here as the ferry to Kalsoy leaves from the harbour just a short drive away. We booked an Airbnb to self-cater to keep costs down. Food and drink is very expensive on the islands. This cute boathouse is our home on the shores of the harbour, from where you can actually watch the Kalsoy Ferry departing and arriving. Kalsoy is cut off from the other islands with no bridges or undersea tunnels. Your only option is to take the ferry. This can be done as a foot passenger or by car.
So the parking situation is quite interesting. There are certain areas where you can only park for timed periods. In the car you've got a little disc and you need to set that to the time that you've arrived and then check at the side of the road how long you can actually stay for. When we arrived at this Airbnb, we forgot to turn the dial, and within minutes a traffic warden was here reading us the riot act. Luckily we didn't get a ticket. We just popped down literally just to open the place up and then bring our bags in. But because we forgot to turn the wheel and set the right time, it looked like we'd already exceeded it by a long time. So make sure you check that. There are many sort of parking areas where you can go for free. There's no time limit, so look out for those. The other thing to make sure is that you park in the direction of travel. We turned the car around, but somebody came out of their house and was saying, no, you can't park like that, you'll get a ticket. So you need to be careful of that. Park on the side of the direction of travel, otherwise you could end up with a ticket. So we're at the ferry port. We've been here since 6 o'clock. There's 3 or 4 different lanes to be in. The locals go in lane 1 because they get priority. Lane 2 and 3 are for tourists and for larger vehicles. But the boat can only take 12 at a time, and it only goes 4 or 5 times a day. So you've got to get up really early, be here. Otherwise, there's a good chance you're not going to make it. I think the tickets are around, what was it, 200?
200 for a car and 2 passengers.
200 for a car and 2 passengers, so it's...
Return.
And that's a return. Okay, cool.
The first ferry leaves at 6:40 AM. You cannot book the ferry in advance. As a guide, you're best to arrive at least 45 minutes before a departure, giving you the best hope of getting on board. Check the website for timetable details. We'll put a link in the description. We travelled midweek, so the first boat was virtually empty, but don't let that deceive you, as in high season it will likely be full, as was the next sailing at 8 AM. The crossing takes just 20 minutes, and as we dock on Kalsoy, notice the bus waiting to collect foot passengers ready to drive to the furthest village, Trollanes. The bus timetable works to always meet the arriving ferry. This is our route. It's pretty simple, as the island has just one road, and with only 80 residents and a similar number of tourists each day, it's never going to get busy, and I think the Faroese want to keep it that way. Let's drive to Trollanes so we can begin our epic hike to the Kallur Lighthouse. There are 4 villages on the island, and we are passing the small community of Husa, sitting next to the shoreline. The village is centred around a beautiful church, which is surrounded by the unspoilt nature and views. There are a few scary tunnels to go through on the way. These are single tracks and you need to be aware of the oncoming traffic. There are passing areas marked with a blue M, so just drive slowly and you'll be fine, being rewarded with stunning views as you pop out into daylight. Below us is our final destination, Trollanes. It takes about 20 minutes along the scenic 16-kilometre drive to arrive here. Nearing the end of the road on the left is a new car park area, but there are a few spaces a little closer to the start of the walk, overlooking the sea and the village. There's also some warm and very clean public toilets here.
So we are now on Kalsoy Island. It's home to the Kallur Lighthouse, which we are going to trek up now. Takes around 45 minutes apparently, really steep uphill, and also we're going to try and find James Bond's grave.
What? You can if you lift a bit higher.
This hike is free to do, but there are a number of hikes in the Faroes that pass across private land, and the locals charge anything from 100 Danish kroner to 500 for the privilege of making the hikes. Bring water, food, proper hiking waterproof boots and clothing. The weather changes fast and it's important to be prepared. Stay well away from the cliff edges that easily crumble. Many visitors have been known to get into difficulty or even sadly die from being too inquisitive.
Are we there yet? There it is. The lighthouse. What we've been walking for. Absolutely incredible up here. It's taken us about 45 minutes to get up. There's some tough bits, but there's also some flat areas that help you sort of recover if you're not that fit. But the views are spectacular. We've been blessed with no rain so far. We've still got to get back, of course, but just unbelievable up here.
Opposite the lighthouse, up a steep cliff, the Faroese commissioned a gravestone to 007 James Bond. Filming for the Villain's Lair took place on the island, and he ultimately kills Bond in the final scenes. The grave marks his fate in No Time to Die. The walk back to the village is no less stunning, with the ever-changing weather providing some dramatic scenes. Nothing to be frightened of. Returning to the village, we walked around the small settlement, which has just one kiosk to buy food and drink. It was closed on the day of our visit, so again make sure you bring your own. The largest village on the island is Mikladalur, which has a number of pretty turf houses and the iconic folklore statue of the seal woman we wanted to visit. There's a small car park and toilets at this location, and the bus will stop at the settlement if you're on foot. The first records of this village are in 1298, making it an ancient settlement known for its skilled craftsmen with ironmongers, stonemason and boat builders. In the 19th century it gained a reputation for being excellent for fishing. On the left you can see, I think, the pulley frames used to bring the catch up onto a flat surface into the village for processing. Cargo and passengers were transported by rowing boats, and only replaced with larger vessels later in the 20th century. Travel by sea ceased in the 1980s when the island became reachable by car. In front of us is a small cafe sitting on the cliff top called Cafe Edge. This provides soup, sweet snacks and coffee. It's a nice pit stop to enjoy the views and warm up. Heading down to the shoreline, we catch our first glimpse of the Seal Woman, whose folklore story is one of the best known in the Faroes. A quick summary of the tale. Seals were believed to be former human beings who voluntarily sought death in the ocean. Once a year on the 13th night, they were allowed to come to land, strip off their skins and amuse themselves as humans. A young farmer from the village of Mikladalur wanted to find out if the tale was true, so he lay in wait and watched the seals arriving, shed their skins and lay them carefully on the rocks. Looking like humans, he spotted a pretty seal girl and wanted her to stay, so he sneaked up and stole her skin. Before dawn, the seals returned to the ocean, but the seal girl couldn't find her skin and had to go to the farmer's home. He kept her with him for many years as his wife, and she bore several children. But he always made sure that she didn't have access to her skin, locking it up in a chest. One day, whilst out at sea with his companions, he realised he'd left the key at home. Rushing back, he found it was too late. The wife had found the key, taken the skin, and returned to the sea to be with the bull seal she'd loved for many years. When her children later came down to the beach, a seal would emerge and look towards the land, and so people naturally believed that it was the children's mother. Amazingly, a seal did pop out of the water during our visit. The story's not quite over. Many years later, the Mikladalur men planned a trip to hunt the seals that lived nearby. The night before they were due to go, the man's seal wife appeared in a dream to him and said that if he wanted to seal hunt, he should make sure he didn't kill the great bull seal, as that was her husband, nor should he harm the 2 seal pups, as they were her 2 young sons. The farmer didn't heed the dream and joined the others on the hunt, and they killed all the seals. In the evening, when the head of the large bull seal and the limbs of the small ones had been cooked for dinner, the seal woman appeared in the form of a terrifying troll and cried a curse of revenge, stating that some of the Mikladalur men would die at sea and others fall from the mountain tops until there were as many dead as can link hands all around the shores of the Isle of Kalsoy. With that, she vanished, never to be seen again. Alas, still today, from time to time, men from the village of Mikladalur get drowned at sea or fall from the tops of the cliffs. Could it mean that the number of victims is not yet great enough for all the dead to link hands around the whole perimeter of the Isle of Kalsoy? Having enjoyed the hike, the waterfalls, the folklore tales, it was time to return to the ferry port. As the ferry can only take 12 at a time, and with just a few afternoon sailings, we didn't want to get stuck on the island. We were suffering from ferry anxiety, leading us to arrive an hour and a half before our return leg. We weren't the first to arrive, but at least we knew that unless a large number of residents wanted to travel across to Klasvik, we would get on the next ferry. After what seemed a lifetime, running about 30 minutes late, the ferry came into view. Having unloaded another full crossing, the bus pulled off for Trollanes, and we were quickly shepherded onto the boat, just squeezing everyone waiting onto the car deck. As we sail away and look back at our day on Kalsoy, all I can say is don't miss the opportunity to visit and experience probably one of the most unique and stunning islands on the Faroes. Arriving back in the harbour at Klasvik, let's look ahead to our next video as we continue to guide you around these incredible islands. In our next episode, we'll be exploring the captivating island of Eysturoy, making our base in the breathtaking village of Gjógr. Nestled amongst its enchanting surroundings, Gjógr boasts a picturesque sea-filled gorge that serves as a natural harbour. The village itself is adorned with charming homes, and its rivers gracefully flow into the vast ocean. The journey to Gjógr is a mesmerising experience in itself, with a winding mountain pass drive that leaves you in awe. Moreover, the peaks surrounding the village offer exhilarating hiking trails, and we'll share this one with you. We'll experience some fine dining as we couldn't self-cater here, visit some stunning waterfalls, and explore more quaint villages like Elduvik with its centuries-old traditions, sheep and stunning scenery. Join us again to explore more and find out why you should visit the Faroe Islands. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next episode, and thank you for watching the Memory Seekers.